Oh,
Whoa, we're live.
we're live.
What is up, everyone?
Welcome to Monday.
It's Monday, April 3rd. Welcome to the Hire Me Podcast live stream. If you are joining us on YouTube or LinkedIn Live, feel free to put your comments, thoughts, questions, whatever may be going on in your life down in the comments, and we will read them, look at them, and all the things with them. Well, maybe not all the things with them, but we'll address them. My name is Chris Lynn. I'm one of the co-hosts of the Hire Me podcast.
I'm Heather Balcerek. I'm the other co-host of the Hire Me podcast.
If you can't tell, today is one of those days already.
It is.
Yeah, Heather and I hopped on and we're like, what are we doing today? And we're like, we had an agenda, but I mean, we still have an agenda. It's just that we're.
Yeah. Hello, Chris. Hi.
Hey, Chris. Yay. One of our previous guests. So that's, you know what? That is a great segue into talking about, not only what we do, but who we've had on the past. So let me, if you're just joining us for the very first time, the Hire Me podcast is for job seekers, recruiters, hiring managers, and professionals to be able to find their next great hire. What is up, Ryan? Good to have you on. And so again, if you are looking for a job and you want to find a new way to put yourself out there and elevate yourself, the Hire Me podcast is a great way to, essentially, people have told me it's like, this is a great way to have a video resume. So this is something that you can put out to recruiters, hiring managers, and for hiring managers and recruiters, you can go to our platforms and find everyone we've talked to. Heather, why don't you talk about, it's been about 2 weeks since we went live last. Like, why don't you run down like everyone we've talked to?
All right, let me get my auctioneering voice ready because it's been a lot. Okay, so in the past couple of weeks, we have had the following on the podcast. We had Lauren Hernandez, who is a tech recruiter. We had Susan Woodard, who is a growth marketing executive. We had Barrett Ziegler, who is a legislative specialist. I learned a lot in that one about legislative things. So fascinated. Then we had Chris White. Shout out to Chris in the comments there, who's watching now. Welcome. He is a SHRM certified professional. Yeah. SHRM professional. I was like, read the letters and say the acronym. Yeah. We had Tammy Waters Manville, who is an HR and talent professional.
Hold on. Who by the way just announced she just got a job. She just got a job. She just signed.
That is amazing.
Tammy, if you're watching this, congrats again from us. We're so excited for you.
Yes, I think we need to add a hired section to the playlist on YouTube, and we will move you to the hired section. Yep. All right, let's see. Then we had Lynn DeBilzen.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay, go me. Strategic leader, for saying that correctly. And then we had Melody Pincheri, who is a learning experience designer. We had Peter Timothy Brown, or if you're his friend, he's known as Tim. And he is a learning and development professional. We had Gary Levy, who is a top problem solver and executive leader. We had Ryan Collins, SEO and data professional, who's also there in the chat. What up, Ryan? We had Adam Zimmerman, who is a data engineer, data analyst, product manager, and software engineer. That's impressive. That's a lot of stuff. We had Kristen LeBaron, who is an ad industry veteran. We had Chad Betts, who is a strategic initiative executive for the financial industry. That's hard. Anything with finance, no.
The conversation I had with him was like really intense. I was like, I don't understand anything you're saying. I can kind of grasp what you're talking about conceptually, but yeah, he went into like especially with what's happening right now in the finance sector, like he kind of like dove into it a little bit. It was fascinating.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and listen. All right, and then we had and the last two were two Ashleys. So we had Ashley Mars
Marcinkus.
Marcinkus. Okay.
Yep.
Ashley Marcinkus, who is an L&D professional. And then Ashley Click. Hers actually just went live this morning. Her post will come out this afternoon. And she is an instructional designer, learning experience designer, doing all those things. Wow. That was a lot.
Yeah. So if you, I mean, y'all, we are pumping out. That was 15 in the last 2 weeks. 15 since we last talked. We are doing more than one a day right now, which is incredible. Not only is it just showing, right, how they're like, we are, that there's a need for it in the market, but man, like this is definitely starting to take off. I mean, something I do want to point out as well is that we have over, actually, you know what? I haven't even looked this morning. Let me take a look at how many followers we have, because
Oh, yeah.
when we first went live 2 weeks ago, we had just around 100 followers, and right now we are at 258, which is incredible. And there are an amazing 32 subscribers on YouTube. So make sure you're following us on LinkedIn, you're subscribing to the YouTube channel. Doesn't matter if you're a recruiter, hiring manager, or just a professional and you want to network with people. Great way to discover and learn more about what people do.
Yeah. Especially like some of these industries that like I have never heard of or never been a part of, like just learning about it and being able to connect with those people to learn more is like that to me is like the greatest gift of this entire job. Like y'all know we don't get paid to do this. We do this
Yeah.
because we want to help you
Yeah.
and help others. And this is something we love to do. But like selfishly, I'm like, I just want to keep doing it because I just love to meet these people because they're
Yeah.
amazing. Like,
Exactly.
if we owned our own company, could hire everybody, Chris and I would, but
Mm-hmm.
but we'll help you.
100%.
We'll help you get there.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah, again, if you know anyone that is looking for a job, they're open to work, they're frustrated uh with their search. That's what led Heather and myself to do this. So again, but we're not here to talk about self-promotion. Although I will throw this up from Chris White again, one of our guests, who says, I think the Hire Me podcast is essential in my journey. My experience is all over the place. I can't read today. And the podcast allowed me to tie it all together in a way that makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris.
yeah, it's a little interview prep for you. Get your
exactly.
star, soar, car stories, whatever acronym you want to use together. And I was asked a couple of the questions in interviews, and so I was like prepared, got it. So
Yep.
it gives you that boost of confidence.
100%. Yeah.
All
So,
right. We're going
we
next.
do want to give a thank you real quick to JL Gonzalez. He referenced us in his hiring recruiting newsletter called the Path Forward. And let me actually throw this up on the screen and
Yeah.
you all can see it and follow JL. We
Yes.
are hoping to have him on in a couple weeks. So if you want to, he's a talent acquisition pro, right? He's been in recruiting for quite some time. So take a look. He shares his lessons, his thoughts, all of that, and he gave us a great shout out. So JL, again, thank you so much for that shout out. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, it was good to I was reading the newsletter this morning and there are so many good things in that newsletter. And I want to call out a couple of things. He talks in that newsletter about 3 lessons he's learned, through, the job seeker journey. And the first one he said was to accept the support. That's hard to do. Especially in when you really don't know how, especially like if you've never been laid off before. I mean, just in general, it's hard to accept help. So and support. So the first lesson is just accept the support, and know that it's coming from the other person. Like it's coming from a place of like caring for you, and you have to sometimes you have to shape your perspective around it to realize that. But just be accepting of that support. The second one, though, is probably the one I resonated with the most, and it was don't put up walls. And he talked about reaching out to people, like recruiter friends and people, previous managers, mentors, and being like, hey, could we mock interview, or could you look at my resume? When really he didn't really need the help, but it was just too hard to say, hey, can we talk? Like, I feel really alone right now. And Chris, I think I've sent you text messages like that. I'm like, this today stinks. Like this, something's like,
Yeah.
just those feelings, and being able to have somebody, a safe space that you can say those things and that they understand. Um, so that one I really resonated with, like, don't put up those walls, like, be honest with how you're feeling. If somebody reached out to you at the start of your journey and they said, hey, if there's a way I can support you, can I look at your resume or whatever, go back now and say, hey, listen, I don't really need this kind of help. Can we just talk? I just I just need to talk to somebody. Like, I feel like this journey is really hard, and I just want to talk with somebody.
Yeah.
There's also, shout out for mental health professionals. If you do have a counselor, or therapist that you are seeing, make sure you make those appointments, or sign up for. I've never used the apps, but if that's all you can have access to right now, then try it. Like, it's good to talk to those people too. And then the third lesson in there was keep showing up. And that's what you got to do. Um, I've been through a lot in the past couple of weeks. So I lost my grandfather a couple of weeks ago, but even still through the traveling and the dealing with that, right? Like, I had to keep showing up for interviews. I had to keep showing up to do things. I wasn't, as active on LinkedIn or anything, but doing those things that I could keep showing up for, I did. Um, so it was a lot. It meant a lot to me to read that newsletter this morning. It really resonated on a Monday. So I'm talking a lot. Chris, any thoughts?
Yeah. No, you're all good. I think the thing that I've personally been pushing myself to do more as I'm searching is lesson number 2 about putting walls up, right? Really reaching out. Like, we're all very prideful. We all don't want to seem vulnerable. Um, but job searching is hard, y'all. It is hard, right? Like, I mean, not only are you're dealing with unemployment, you're dealing with financial stresses, you may be dealing with things at home because of these other financial stresses, but job searching in and of itself is a full-time job. Add on networking, add on figuring out unemployment, add on all of the additional stress. Like, it is tough. So it is more than okay to reach out to people and say, yo, I need some help. I am struggling right now, and I have not had anyone say, yo, I can't do it. Like, they've all at minimum said, what can I do to support you, or what can I do? So yes, Tashana, we can definitely post the link in the news to the newsletter. So actually I will do that right meow, and send that over, and I can share that right now. Just give me one schmecond. I'm making up words today, y'all. I don't know what's going on with me. Oh
Oh,
man. So if you want to see it, it's in the link. If you're watching on YouTube, I know it's on YouTube. If you can't see it, um, it's a mess on here on the screen. If you can see that, it's a mess. Let me repost JL's name so you can find him.
yeah. If you find him and follow him, you should automatically get the invite to his newsletter. Because that's how I got it this morning. Um, oh, Sarah. Yep.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
here it is. It's JL Gonzalez. That's his name. We're gonna have him on at some point and talk about how any tips, tricks he may have, both for recruiters as well as for those who are open to work. Because I think on these lives we're kind of focusing on both sides. Yeah, Sarah, absolutely. It's so tough. One tip I actually learned this last week is find someone. They talk about mentoring, right? And who always want. Hold on. my brain is going 20,000 different ways right now. Let me keep JL's newsletter up first. So if you all want to look at it, it's there. Second, going back to looking for help, finding new ways to network, those sort of things. The thing that I actually found is that instead of asking someone to mentor you, look at someone who is a bit more far along in a similar career path, or someone in the field that you're in. So in this case, I'm looking for director level roles for talent development. And talent development, Heather, you and I both know is an area that's getting cut. What's not getting cut are most HR team members, right? Just kind of general HR, HRBP, those types of people. So I started reaching out to CHROs that I know, to VPs of HR, people operations, and saying, "Hey, can we talk just for 15 minutes and let me send you my resume and you tell me what I need to do to make myself stand out more, because obviously I'm going to be applying under most of those umbrellas under people ops and HR, right? And so what do I need to do for my resume to stand out?" Rather than asking another recruiter their way or their preference on how they prefer to see your resume, this is someone who would be potentially the hiring manager to say, "Hey, let me take a look and see, what you might be missing." So yeah, lots of different ways to, yeah. And Ryan, absolutely, like, do informational interviews. Like, those are so critical.
Uh, that is one thing that have not been very good at. Very, very, very hard. Not, and maybe it's a pride thing a little bit, but also like an introvert thing, or just a scared thing of reaching out to somebody that I don't know that is farther along to ask these questions. But
Yeah.
it's such a great idea, Chris. I really like it. And that's something I need to get better at is that informational interviews and that type of thing. So I
But
appreciate that.
yeah. But again, it just goes to show, right? For job seekers, like, there's so many things you're doing. You're constantly revising your resume, you're constantly searching, you're doing informational interviews, you're doing networking conversations. Like, my wife is like, "What's on your agenda today?" And I'm like, "I have these like 5 different types of conversations I'm having," right? And it's insane, y'all. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I helped somebody this morning with their resume, and helping them like get it reformatted and ready to go, because again, as a job seeker, you all know redoing your resume, it feels like a daily occurrence. But I gave her some feedback that I had been given from a recruiter, because I asked a recruiter that had, I interviewed with, and I was like, "Why did you pick me?" I was like, "Can I ask?" Like, because I want to help other people. Like, what was it that made you say, "Oh, I want to call this person"? And she told me, she said, "Well, like, in your summary, you told me the years of experience that you had. You told me some big places that you had worked and what you did there. So I knew immediately you met those qualifications. And then in your
Mhm.
highlight section, you talked about building and scaling programs. That is what we need you to do." So it was clear from the beginning what I was going to bring to the table.
Yeah.
And that's what got her attention.
Yeah.
Um, so it's little bitty things like that, and just putting those pieces together, to tell your story.
Yeah, 100%. And again, there's so many different tips and tricks out there that, we're learning. And again, Heather and myself, we're not in talent acquisition, we're not in recruiting, so we're learning these alongside y'all. So, man, I'm using that word a lot today, y'all. Anyway,
You're hanging out with me too much.
yeah. Never enough. But yeah, so stay tuned. We've got so much more. We've got so many ideas. We have at least a dozen more guests, I believe, ready to sign up or ready or scheduled to do their interview. And so make sure you're share if you're watching this and you know someone who wants to join or get their interview done, where it's a open book, no cost, no charge. This is all on us, our free time. It's a very streamlined process. So here, what I'll do is I'll throw up our QR code. So again, if you're watching and you're job hunting right now and you want to interview with one of us, there's our calendar links right there.
Yeah.
Look at that. Heather's is on the East Coast and I
Yep.
am on the West Coast. So if that matters to you,
Yeah.
if you
It's
like
whatever
one
works
of
for
us
you.
more, if
I
you
guess
like Heather more than you like me, that's cool too. I don't mind.
I should probably go make sure I have like times open. Note to
But if
self:
you,
Heather will check that. Heather will check that
yeah,
after the end. I'll make sure my calendar's open.
yeah. But for if you have any issues with the links or anything, we've had a couple people that, have issues. Just reach out to us, and we're happy to work with you. And again, just send it to whoever. Happy to,
Yeah.
yeah. And then what else is on the line, Heather? We've got a couple other like ideas that
Oh,
we've
yes.
got bubbling.
So we are going to start doing a segment in these lives called breaking down the buzzwords, because as like we've been doing these interviews and even interviews ourselves, we talk a lot about, oh, well, what do you want in a culture? Well, I want collaborative and transparent, and like we use all these words, and sometimes we use it in a way that like it what does it mean? Right? It goes, okay, well,
Yeah.
collaboration, well, what does that mean? What does that
Yeah.
look like? And so I was like, let's start breaking down some of these buzzwords. And so we have a really big list. But if you have any particular buzzwords that you're like, I would love to like break this word down, like what does this really mean? Talent development is also a one that's going to be on our list to talk through, because what is talent development? Like, what is it? If you do it,
Yep.
like I know what it is. Chris knows what it is, and several people that I see in the chat know what it is because I know what they do. But to somebody that's not in this field, what is it? So how do we break it down and make it easy to understand? Like, what does it really mean, and how can we express it in words that are like more layman's terms, I guess is the best way to say that.
Yeah. Or what people really mean, right? Like they
Yeah.
say one thing, especially job postings, they say one thing and it's like, what does that actually mean? Like we'll break
Yeah.
those down.
Yeah.
And
Tashana, yes, by the way, so Tashana asked if I'm open to reviewing resumes. Yes, if you would connect with me, if we're not connected already on LinkedIn, connect and you can send it to me.
yeah.
So
All right. Well, again, I think that's it for us, right, Heather? I don't think we have much else here today.
No.
So as we wrap up, again, if you are not subscribed or following us, shame on you. It's been 23 minutes since you could have been doing this already. So go subscribe to us on YouTube. Connect with all of the amazing people who are open to work, whether or not you're hiring. Again, even if you are job hunting, just connect with these amazing people. We all have something that we can learn from one another. And again, if you want to sign up for an interview, sign up, even if you've already done an interview, because we've got a few of you who have already done it, but send people that who are job hunting the link. We are more than happy to get connected and help people out. Oh, JL, what's up, man? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you again for helping out, and we can't wait to have you on at some point.
Absolutely. If you go to our page, if you go to the Hire Me podcast page on LinkedIn, there is a pinned post that tells you how to sign up. So if you didn't grab the link, if you just go there, it's the very first pinned post, and you can check out that article. It's got all of the information in it for you, and you can share that. And please share not only you, if you're a guest, share obviously your interview with us, but share other people's as they start to come out, because that just gives them more visibility to more networks and the more opportunity we all have to help each other.
Yeah. Oh, I sent this to Heather and I want to share it with all of you. We are nearing 1,000 views already on YouTube. Like like insane. Like I know like those numbers don't seem like a lot, but that's like 1,000 views. Like it's like a hundred or so hours of watching. Like that's a lot, you know? So yeah, definitely be sure to subscribe, follow all everywhere we're at. Let me put those QR codes back up. So again, if you want to subscribe on YouTube, follow us on LinkedIn. That would be a huge help because then every time we have someone new, which we're pumping out one a day right now, you will be able to see their interviews. All right. Heather, any last words before we sign off for the day?
No, just thank you, everybody. You're fantastic.
Yeah, same. And Shauna, Chris, Sarah, everyone that's in the comments, JL, there's so many of you all right now. So thank you again for supporting us and continuing to support us. We will see you all very, very soon.
Yes. Bye,
Bye.
everybody.